The air inside the alien command ship was heavy with smoke and fear. Red warning lights flashed across every wall, and the alarm screamed in a language the human didn't care to understand. He moved quickly through the dark halls, his black combat suit almost invisible in the chaos. Behind him, fires burned. Ahead, the heart of the ship, and the warlord who started it all. Commander Jarek waited in the control chamber. His armor was cracked. His face had fresh scars, but his eyes still burned with pride. He had led 1,000 battles. He had conquered 10 worlds. But now, in this moment, he knew fear, and the reason stood before him. A human, one man, a Navy SEAL. The SEAL walked in calmly. His steps were quiet, but each one echoed in Jarek's chest like thunder. No backup, no army, just him. "You made a mistake," the SEAL said, voice calm and cold. Jarek raised his weapon and fired. The plasma shot sizzled through the air, but the SEAL had already moved. Like a shadow, he was behind Jarek in a second. He kicked the weapon from the warlord's hand and launched a punch that broke part of Jarek's helmet. Jarek roared and charged. They clashed in the center of the room. Fists, elbows, knees. It wasn't a clean fight. It was raw, brutal, desperate. Jarek was taller, stronger, but the SEAL was faster, smarter. Every move he made was trained, perfect, deadly. The SEAL ducked a swing and hit Jarek in the ribs. Once, twice, 3 times. Jarek staggered, coughing blood. But he didn't fall. He grabbed the SEAL by the arm and threw him against the wall. The SEAL hit hard, but rolled and got back on his feet. They charged again. This time, the SEAL flipped over Jarek's head and landed behind him. He grabbed Jarek's neck from behind and used his weight to bring the giant down. They crashed to the floor. The SEAL climbed on top and raised his fist for the final blow. Jarek froze. He looked up, blood running down his face. His hands opened slowly in surrender. "I surrender," he growled. The SEAL didn't punch. Instead, he stood. He breathed hard, chest rising and falling like waves. Then he said, "You have 2 choices. Face Earth's justice, or die here." Jarek laughed, a cruel, bitter sound. "Justice. I'd burned cities, killed billions. What justice can you offer me?" "Not mine," the SEAL replied. "Ours." Jarek's face twisted in hate. With his last bit of strength, he reached behind him and slammed his hand onto a glowing red panel. "Then we all die," he whispered. A voice spoke from the ship's system. "Core overload initiated. Self-destruct in 90 seconds." The SEAL's eyes widened for a second, then narrowed with focus. He turned and ran. Alarms blared louder. The ship shook as systems failed. Explosions started on lower decks. Fire raced through the halls. Jarek stayed behind, laughing as his ship died. The SEAL sprinted through collapsing corridors. A wall blew out beside him, and metal beams crashed down, barely missing him. He jumped over fire, slid under falling pipes, and reached the hangar just as the countdown reached 10. He dove into a small alien escape pod, hacked the controls, and launched into space. Behind him, the warlord's ship exploded like a dying star. From orbit, the human fleet watched the blast. The ship that had once threatened Earth was now a cloud of fire and ash. Inside the command ship of the human fleet, Admiral Reyes saw the escape pod signal. "Open the bay," she ordered. "He's coming home." The SEAL's pod docked with the main carrier. As the doors opened, crew members stood in silence. Then cheers broke out. He walked through them without a word, straight to the bridge. Admiral Reyes saluted him. "Report, SEAL." "Target neutralized," he said. "Jarek's gone. His fleet is broken." Reyes nodded. "We've already sent the message." Across the galaxy, on screens in every language, a short video played. It showed the face of the warlord. Then it showed the SEAL walking through fire. Then, a simple message in bold letters. Don't touch our people, ever again. Every ruler, every empire, every pirate king and alien warlord saw that message, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy fell silent. Not because of fear, but because it finally understood. Humans were not to be played with, not taken, not slapped. Because when one human is hurt, all of humanity answers. And their answer is final. Inside the cold alien prison, silence filled the air. Thick metal doors sealed the human inside a dark cell. Cameras watched his every move. Two tall alien guards stood outside with plasma rifles. They laughed and spoke in their own language, mocking the prisoner. But the human, the Navy SEAL, sat calmly in the center of the cell. His hands were chained. His face was bruised. Yet he looked relaxed, almost like he was waiting for something, or someone. The guards didn't know his name. To them, he was just the human. But back on Earth, he was known as Commander Rex Carter, one of the most dangerous men alive. And now, the countdown had started. Inside his mouth, behind his back tooth, was a small capsule, just 1 centimeter long. He bit down gently. Click. The capsule opened and dropped a thin wire onto his tongue. He reached up carefully and spat it into his hand. The guards didn't see it. They didn't even glance his way. Within 30 seconds, Rex had unlocked one of his cuffs. He waited. Then, in a quick and silent motion, he pulled the wire again and released the second cuff. He stood slowly, quietly, like a shadow. One guard turned his head just as the cell door opened, and it was the last thing he ever saw. Rex moved fast. He slammed the first guard into the wall, took his weapon, and shot the second one before he could scream. The hallway was now his. Rex moved quickly. Every step was planned. Every shot was perfect. He didn't waste bullets. He didn't make noise. Security bots rolled toward him, but he dropped a smoke bomb and vanished into the fog. In just 2 minutes, 7 guards were down. No alarms had gone off. But Rex knew that wouldn't last. He entered a control room and used the alien terminal. His fingers flew across the screen. He couldn't read their language, but symbols and maps were enough. He found what he needed, the ship's communication center. He spoke quietly into the system. Echo Black, this is Phantom 1. Alive. Escaped. Sending enemy base coordinates. Begin Operation Ghost Storm. He pressed send. Somewhere in deep space, a human scout ship received the message. That ship, hidden and silent, immediately alerted Earth's military. Reinforcements would come. But Rex had work to do before they arrived. He searched the system and found something worse than he expected. The alien commander, Jarek, had planned an attack on Earth. A fleet, 10 times larger than any seen before, was preparing near a nearby moon. Their plan: destroy Earth in one strike. Rex stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. He whispered, "Not happening." Suddenly, alarms began to scream. Red lights flashed. The aliens had discovered the missing guards. The whole base knew now. Rex grabbed more weapons and extra energy cells. He also took 3 small black orbs, human tech, EMP bombs, very useful against alien machines. As he ran through the halls, more guards appeared. They shouted and fired. Rex rolled behind a crate and tossed an EMP orb. The lights blinked. Every alien weapon shut down. He moved in and took them out hand to hand. Fast, brutal, precise. The base commander sent in a full strike team. 10 elite alien warriors in armor. But Rex was trained for worse. He used the shadows, the vents, the layout of the prison. He turned their home into a trap. One by one, the aliens fell. They never saw him coming. By the time Zarek received the full report, 22 guards were dead, 16 injured, and the human was nowhere to be found. He slammed his fist into the table and shouted, "Find him. He cannot leave this ship alive." But it was too late. Rex had already placed small bombs across the ship. Not enough to destroy it, just enough to cause fear, enough to send a message. He walked into the base's main camera room. The feed showed every hallway, every cell. He switched on the system, aimed the camera at himself, and sent a direct video message to the alien leader. "You slapped the wrong man." Then he cut the feed. Explosions rocked the lower decks. Smoke filled the prison. Panic spread like fire. And in that moment, every alien aboard the base understood something terrifying. This was not just a human. This was a Navy SEAL. And they had made the biggest mistake of their lives. The alien ship was no longer calm. Sirens screamed across every hallway. Smoke filled the air. Lights flickered. Jarek, the alien warlord, stood in the command room with rage in his eyes. His fists were clenched, his jaw tight. "This human, this insect, he dares to challenge me," Jarek growled. One of his officers, nervous and shaking, said, "We are sending strike teams to every section. He cannot escape." But Jarek knew better. This human wasn't running. He was fighting. And he was winning. Commander Rex Carter moved silently through the dark corridors. His black uniform blended with the shadows. His face was calm, his eyes sharp. He had already taken out 2 more squads. Now he was heading toward the main weapons bay. He had one goal: stop the alien attack before it reached Earth. As he moved, he found something unexpected: a room with human prisoners. There were 7 of them: 3 engineers, 2 medics, 1 pilot, and a young scientist, all captured from earlier raids. They were weak and scared, locked in energy cages. When Rex entered, they didn't know if he was real. Are you one of us?" one asked softly. He nodded. "Navy SEAL, you're safe now." He destroyed the control panel and opened the cages. The group stared at him with wide eyes. For the first time in days, they had hope. "We need to move fast," Rex said. "I'll guide you to an escape pod. Stay close. Stay quiet." The group followed him through tight hallways and vent tunnels. Rex led them like a ghost, moving from shadow to shadow. When they heard footsteps, he raised a hand. Everyone froze. When the way was clear, they moved again. Soon, they reached the escape bay. Rex opened a hatch and helped them inside. "Once you're clear, send this signal to Earth Command." He handed the pilot a chip. "Tell them Jarek has a fleet hidden near Theta 9. The pilot nodded. "What about you?" "I'm not done yet." Rex shut the pod door and hit the launch button. The small ship blasted out of the alien cruiser and vanished into space. Back inside, Jarek watched the escape on a screen. His eyes narrowed. "He's helping prisoners now," he said coldly. "Foolish. That slows him down." He turned to his best assassin, a tall, silent warrior named Grok. "Find the human. Kill him. No more mistakes." Grok bowed once and disappeared. Meanwhile, Rex was planting more charges. He had mapped the ship's power grid. He knew where to hit to make the entire vessel blind and slow. One by one, he placed the bombs behind panels, inside control rooms, near reactor cores. Time was ticking. Soon, the whole ship would go dark. Then he heard something. Not footsteps, not voices. Breathing. Heavy. Close. Rex turned fast, weapon ready. Grok stood at the end of the hallway, 7 feet tall. Armor made of black crystal. 2 long energy blades in his hands. Rex didn't speak. Neither did Grok. They just moved. Blades clashed. Sparks flew. Fists slammed into armor. Rex ducked, rolled, countered. He wasn't stronger, but he was faster, smarter, trained for chaos. Grok swung hard, breaking pipes and walls, but Rex dodged and struck weak points. The fight moved through 2 rooms, breaking glass, crushing machines. Finally, Rex grabbed a metal cable and whipped it around Grok's neck, pulling tight. The alien struggled, tried to cut free. But Rex slammed his head into a wall, again and again, until the assassin dropped. Grok didn't move again. Rex took a deep breath and checked his watch. 2 minutes left. He rushed to the main control room. Jarek's voice came through the ship's speakers. "You're alone, human. You can't stop a fleet." Rex didn't answer. He placed the final charge under the main command panel. Then he opened the comms again and sent one more message to Earth. "Coordinates confirmed. Fire mission ready. Strike in 5 minutes." Jarek's ship had one weakness. It acted as the brain for the entire fleet. Take it out, and the rest would fall into confusion. And Rex had just lit the match. As he turned to leave, the door behind him opened. Jarek himself stepped inside. He wore battle armor, thick, heavy. His eyes burned with hate. "You are dead." Rex raised his fists. "Try me." Jarek stood tall in the control room. His armor glowed red from the heat of power cells inside. His fists were covered in thick metal. His eyes stared at Rex with hate and hunger. "You humans think you're special," Jarek said, his voice deep and full of pride. "But you're weak, alone." Rex said nothing. He had no interest in long speeches. He only saw one thing: an enemy who needed to be stopped. Jarek charged like a beast. Rex stepped aside, letting the warlord smash into a control panel. Sparks flew. The ship shook as systems failed. The lights flickered again. Rex moved quickly. He kicked the side of Jarek's knee, making him stumble. Then he punched him twice in the ribs. The hits didn't do much. The armor was thick. But Rex was not trying to beat Jarek with strength. He was going to outthink him. Jarek roared and swung a massive fist. Rex ducked and rolled away. He grabbed a metal rod from the floor and used it like a staff, hitting Jarek's helmet, then jabbing at his side. Jarek caught the rod and bent it in half. "You fight like an animal," Jarek growled. "But I am a god to your kind." "You're just a thug with too much armor," Rex replied. Jarek lunged again. This time, Rex grabbed a loose cable from the wall and wrapped it around Jarek's arm as he passed. The warlord kept going, but the cable snapped tight, pulling him backward into a pile of metal crates. The crash was loud. Rex took the chance to grab a shock baton from the ground and jammed it into the back of Jarek's armor. Electricity surge. Jarek screamed in pain and tore the baton away, throwing it across the room. "You will die slowly," he snarled. "Not today." Rex knew he had one last chance. He didn't need to win forever, just long enough for the bombs to finish the job. He checked the time on his wrist. 1 minute 14 seconds. Jarek stood again, angry and bloodied. The armor was cracked in some places. His breathing was heavier now. But he wasn't done. He opened a compartment on his arm and pulled out a short, glowing blade. "Let's end this." Rex stared at the blade, then looked at the floor. One of the broken crates had spilled small fuel cells, volatile, unstable, and very explosive. He needed to get Jarek close to them. The two charged at each other. Jarek swung wildly. Rex dodged, parried, and backed toward the fuel cells. One wrong move and the whole room would go up. Jarek pressed harder. The blade slashed across Rex's shoulder. Blood spilled. Rex winced but didn't fall. He stepped to the side and kicked Jarek toward the pile. The warlord stumbled. Rex then threw a broken tool at the cells. Jarek looked down, just in time to see sparks. Boom! The small explosion knocked them both back. Jarek's armor took most of the hit, but the impact broke one of his legs. He fell to the floor, screaming in rage. Rex was thrown into the wall, coughing and bleeding. His shoulder burned. His legs felt weak, but he stood up. He limped over to Jarek, who tried to crawl away. "It's over," Rex said. Jarek spat blood. "You can kill me, but others will come. You'll face justice, Rex said. On Earth. Jarek laughed weakly. No prison can hold me. Rex aimed his weapon. Try me. Jarek slowly raised his hand in surrender, but then reached behind his back and pressed a red button on his armor. The ship's alarms screamed louder. Self-destruct activated. 60 seconds. Rex's eyes widened. You idiot. Jarek grinned. If I die, I take you with me. But Rex was already moving. He grabbed the warlord's weapon, then sprinted down the hallway. His body hurt. His blood trailed behind. But his mind was focused on one thing: escape. He jumped down a broken maintenance shaft. Sparks flew past him as he fell. He landed hard, rolled, and kept running. 30 seconds. He reached the emergency hangar. A small shuttle was docked, probably for Jarek's escape. Rex jumped inside, fired the engines, and launched. Behind him, the alien ship exploded in a wave of fire and light. The force shook the shuttle, but he was already clear. Rex sat back, breathing hard, his body covered in burns and blood. He looked at the stars ahead. Earth was safe. For now, and he had a message to deliver. Rex sat in the shuttle, breathing heavily. His body ached, and the blood on his uniform had already begun to dry, but he kept his eyes focused on the stars ahead. His mission wasn't over. Earth wasn't safe until he sent the final message across the galaxy. He looked down at the console, fingers already moving to connect the communication system to the ship's long-range transmitter. He had to make sure the message reached every corner of the galaxy. The ones who thought they could hurt Earth needed to know just who they were dealing with. His hand trembled for a moment as he pressed a button. The ship's comm system powered up, and a low hum filled the cabin. Rex took a deep breath and leaned forward. "This is Commander Rex Carter, Navy SEAL, reporting after mission completion," he said, his voice strong and steady despite the pain. "The alien warlord Jarek, leader of the Draxan Empire, has been defeated. His fleet has been neutralized, and his warship is destroyed." He paused, letting the silence fill the cabin for a moment. "But this message is not just for the Empire," Rex continued. "It's for anyone who thinks they can harm Earth or her people, anyone who thinks humanity is weak, anyone who believes we are just another easy target in the galaxy. You've made a mistake." Rex's mind flashed back to Jarek's arrogant words, the warlord's laughter, as if Earth was nothing more than a dot in the universe, as if humanity was just a passing nuisance. But Rex knew better. Earth's people may be small in numbers, but we are not weak. We have strength. We have courage. And most importantly, we have something that no alien empire can understand: our will to survive. The will to protect our own. Rex adjusted his seat, his gaze moving to the display showing the expanding waves of communication as the message sent out, broadcasting in every direction across the stars. "Listen carefully, Galaxy. This is your warning. If you ever attack us again, you will not face just one man or one ship. You will face all of humanity. We are the apex predators of this galaxy, and we will stop you." Rex's voice grew stronger, more certain, as his words cut through the quiet hum of the shuttle. "We will defend Earth. We will protect our people. And we will not stop until every last one of you knows that humanity is not to be messed with." His fingers hovered over the console for a moment, before pressing the button that would ensure the message would echo across every corner of the galaxy. He leaned back in his seat, letting out a sigh of relief. The shuttle glided silently through space, the stars bright against the black void. For a moment, Rex let himself relax. He had done what he needed to do. Earth was safe, for now. But deep inside, he knew it wasn't over. There would be others. Other warlords, other empires, all thinking the same thing Jarek had, that humanity was too small, too weak to stand against them. They were wrong, and now they knew it. But there was another message that needed to be sent, one that would echo beyond the galaxy, one that would reach every corner of Earth. Rex turned the shuttle toward home, toward the blue planet he had sworn to protect. As the engines hummed and the stars slowly began to fade, he prepared to speak once again. "Command, this is Rex Carter. Mission accomplished. The fleet is safe. The warlord Jarek is dead. Earth is safe for now." He paused for a moment, thinking of the soldiers, the civilians, the families waiting for him back home. He thought of the lives he had saved, the countless battles he had fought. It wasn't just about winning. It was about protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. Sending a message now, one that should have been sent long ago. Earth is not a target. It is not a prize. It is not a place for others to conquer. The shuttle's engines began to hum louder as it shifted into a faster drive, heading back toward Earth. But Rex knew something else, something he would always remember. No matter how many times they tried to come for Earth, no matter how many empires rose and fell, humanity would always rise. We are the apex predators of the galaxy, and no one touches our people. With that final thought, Rex turned his attention to the stars ahead. He was coming home, and the galaxy would know that humanity was not to be underestimated. Rex's shuttle sliced through the void, the stars passing by in a blur. His body ached, the pain from his fight with Jarek still fresh. The blood on his uniform had dried, but he didn't care. He had done what he needed to do. The warlord was dead, and Earth was safe. But the job wasn't done yet. He pressed a button, connecting to Earth Command. The screen flickered to life, and a familiar voice came through the comm. "Commander Carter, report," the voice said. "This is Commander Rex Carter. Mission completed. The Draxan Empire's warlord, Jarek, is dead. His fleet is destroyed. I'm heading back to Earth now." "Understood. Welcome home, Commander. We'll be waiting for your report." Rex nodded silently. He didn't need a hero's welcome. The job was all that mattered. He turned his shuttle toward Earth, the blue planet shining ahead like a beacon. But as he drifted through space, his mind wandered back to Jarek. The warlord's death had been brutal, but it was necessary. He had been a threat to Earth, one that had to be stopped. As Rex approached Earth's atmosphere, a warning alarm blared in his shuttle. Incoming transmission. His fingers moved swiftly over the controls. The screen displayed a familiar insignia, the Galactic Council. Rex frowned. He knew what this was about. The Council had been watching his mission closely, and they would want answers. He opened the communication link. A stern voice came through the screen. "Commander Carter, this is Administrator Vorn of the Galactic Council. We are aware of your actions against the Draxan Empire. We have reviewed your report, and we find your actions troubling." Rex's eyes narrowed. Troubling. The Draxan Empire was a threat to Earth. I took action to protect my people. Administrator Vorn's face hardened. You destroyed their entire fleet. You killed Jarek. That is not how the galaxy operates. You do not have the right to make such decisions on your own. "You're wrong," Rex replied, his voice calm but firm. "I didn't act alone. I acted on behalf of every human being who calls Earth home. You can't keep threatening us without facing the consequences." The administrator's eyes flickered with annoyance. "The Council will be convening to discuss this. You've made enemies. You've stirred up a hornet's nest." Rex stood tall, his face set in determination. "Let them come. They won't find what they expect." The transmission ended, and the screen went dark. Rex leaned back in his seat, his mind racing. The Galactic Council might be angry, but it was clear to him now. Earth would never be just a pawn in the galaxy's power struggle. Humanity had made a statement, and the galaxy would never forget it. As the shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere, Rex prepared for landing. He had done what he had to do, but he knew the fight wasn't over. There would always be another enemy, another battle. But he was ready. The shuttle touched down on the landing pad with a soft thud. Rex stepped out, the door hissing open, and as he did, a military escort was already waiting for him. A few soldiers saluted him as he walked toward them, but Rex barely acknowledged it. His mind was focused on what came next. "Commander, you're cleared for debriefing," one of the soldiers said, his tone respectful. Rex nodded. "Lead the way." Inside the debriefing room, Rex was met by a group of high-ranking officers, all of them waiting for his report. He sat down at the table, exhausted but focused. "Rex," one of the officers said, his voice calm but serious. "The situation is much larger than just the Draxan Empire. The Galactic Council has already begun to discuss your actions. They won't take kindly to the way you handled things." Rex looked at the officer, his gaze unwavering. "I did what had to be done. The Draxans were a threat, and they needed to be stopped. If I had to make enemies with the galaxy to protect Earth, then so be it." The officer paused, considering his words. "You've made an impact, that's for sure. But this won't end with just one empire. The galaxy will react. The question is, how far are we willing to go to protect our people?" Rex's eyes darkened. "We'll go as far as we need to. No one will ever threaten Earth again." Outside, as the Earth's blue skies stretched out above, Rex's words echoed in the hearts of every soldier, every citizen. The warlord was dead, but the message was clear. Earth was not weak. Earth would fight back. And if the galaxy wasn't ready for humanity's wrath, they would soon learn. The galaxy had underestimated Earth for too long. It would take more than a few threats to shake the will of humanity. Rex walked out of the debriefing room, his mind set on the future. He had done his part. Now it was time for humanity to stand strong, to show the galaxy that they would never back down. And deep in space, far from Earth, other empires and warlords watched the events unfold. They saw the message sent across the stars, and they knew humanity was no longer something to be ignored.